US dollar for basic, like first tire. And so, and there we have, you know, like we have nice conversations. And first of all, like I say, in Discord for channel members, I like to talk about perspective, like usual. No, not only perspective, but I like to talk about drawing, how to learn, and it's almost like a mentorship, you know. But like if I take for mentorship like 1,000 US dollar, for Discord it's just $1.50 in a month. So here everybody can check. This basic lowest tire, it's in Taiwan dollars, 45 Taiwan dollars is like $1.50 US, and the second tire is like 10 US dollar. So it's just if you want to contribute, and there's some more US dollars. So just for $1.50 US, it's like cup of coffee, you know. It's like 1 month's price of one coffee. You can join my Discord channel. So, and there in Discord our member Subway, he like recently did this fisheye kind of practice drawing, and I think it's just good to analyze and like using this as starting point to again talk about like a system and fisheye structure. So I will explain how it works, like based on this drawing. So it's kind of like feedback, but also it's just a nice situation to talk about. So this exactly this case, like what I'm talking all the time, when we have practice can be like combine different skills together, or it can be like isolated only one like technique, right? So it's like we combine several techniques together, or we practice only one technique. For example, like one technique is perspective grid, right? So let's say, so when I say you practice only perspective grid, then it means like you like all 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, 5 point. There is also even 4 point perspective grid and 6 point perspective grids. So you should have like picture in your head immediately when I tell you like 5 point perspective, right? So you already see whole structure, 6 point perspective. So it's like, let's say, так. Okay, so it's kind of like symbols. So it's why I say it's like it's really kind of like a hieroglyphs. When I study Chinese hieroglyphs, especially like traditional Chinese, Taiwanese, you know, I realize it's like really so much like drawings and approach of learning hieroglyphs. Like kind of like open my eyes, like how much we neglect as artists sometimes importance of repetition, and just like kind of treating it as this forget always how I say, like, you know how we study in the school this thing, we just repeat, then we practice it, we use it sometimes in different situations, so finally it just became like engraved in your head, kind of, right? So you just can't forget it anymore. So same how we study language, how we study to walk, to run, all this stuff, right? So same with this kind of complex symbols. And perspective grids, it's like this symbol, so you should understand this principle. And this like one like isolated technique, just like one thing. But then, you know, there is like also boxes, proportions, um, let's say like intuitive perspective, which is like when you, without using grid and vanishing points, you just kind of like create an illusion of form and space. It's an intuitive perspective, you know. It's like a boxes or any other simple kind of 3D geometry. Then what else, you know, and no, and all other nuances like anatomy, folds, just knowledge of references, like how to draw like very basic clothes, like pants, shoes, hairstyles, stuff like this. So when you practice, it helps to learn all of them individually, all of them separately, and from time to time we're doing it. Like you go to gym, you can choose to, like once in a week, I don't know, just train one muscle individually, just say, okay, only focus on this muscle. But then, so this is a gym, this is your gym, your practice, your training, right? And then there is like a ring, like a battlefield or a real world, real life situation. And this real world situation, where you will check all your skills and where you need to use all them together, you know, so to create picture, so say real life check, right? Real life situation. So it's like you go in, let's say, to dojo, like martial arts, right? So you go to this martial arts gym, dojo, and the coach tell you, okay, you doing this exercise, this, like you punching back, you doing like some, like, I don't know, like how it's called, mobility training and endurance and stuff. And this will like prepare you for actual fight, right? So, and then you have actual fight, and this is like your reality check, like how this training help you in the actual fight, you know. So real life situation, yeah, let's say situation. So, and this also, of course, it's also some kind of practice in itself, because like, yeah, when you have like experience of real fight, of more real fights you have, more experienced you became and more like better you with real fighting. So we need this like real life application experience. We need this like practice of using like all our skills. We need to practice to kind of how we combine, how we like be working on a result and manage to organize our process, organize all our skills. So it's also skill, because you don't learn it if you not try it, right? So this I talk also in a video, like how to improve in art. So very important kind of, but still it's distinction. Still is distinction. So one, it's gym, other one is a real life. Both of them kind of have this practice aspect, but in the gym it's all about practice. It's all about training. You don't need to show anybody anything. You don't want to perform. You kind of like, hey, look how many kilograms I can. It's not for other people. It's just for you, kind of, you know. But when your real life situation, kind of, it's mainly about actual real life results. So what kind of goal you have in this real life? You want to impress somebody, you want to knock out somebody, kind of, you know. So you work on a goal, and you check kind of what you're actually right, like it's a reality check for your actual skills, right? So, and first, when we have this real life situation, kind of, right, uh, as artists, we experience this like overwhelming when we have like so many things we need to work simultaneously. So it's kind of like our brain is just like shut down because you need perspective again, all this stuff, proportions, anatomy, and stuff, right? So, and here is this situation when better your skills is, then it will be easier for you to work on a picture. Okay, so because if you struggle on a very like if you have like very low level on every skill, on every technique, then it became just like kind of like impossible, just you just like have all this you just feel like helpless and hopeless, kind of, because you try to learn in a process, and this is just too much to learn in one time. You better learn each of them individually. So, and here let's like break down kind of what is elements here include in creating this kind of work. So, in what kind of like lack of practice of this individual technique, lack of this practice of them separately cause mistakes in this kind of work. So let's say yeah, okay, yeah, so let's say first grid, second ratio or proportions, right? Then we can like gesture, composition, and later maybe we'll remember something else. So let's say grid. Okay, yeah, grid is here is no mistakes. It's a 5-point perspective grid. So like I say before, it's part of a 5-point perspective grid structure. So we see this 3 vanishing point. So y vanishing point like slightly outside of a frame. So we have this kind of like from this 5-point or 6-point straight perspective grid, we have this part being used in this picture. So even this grid is correct here, I kind of feel there was certain element of struggle to making this grid. So consider it, it's like if you have like 100% resources for making artwork in a certain amount of time, right? So you make an effort for drawing grid because you lack of practice, like you just don't lack of experience. So you like deduct like 10%, let's say, right? So just this thing leave you with from beginning, leave you like only 90%. Like me right now, I draw in these grids. It's like, I don't know, like close to zero effort. It's like, it's kind of like a brief. I know this grids is like easiest thing in the world. You have no idea how simple it is. So then, okay, what we have next? We have like these two characters, right? They're kind of like, I have question, like, is there standing in front of each other? If we look like Western kind of, right? So there's like two guys, like how it's called, like face off or something, when they shoot each other. So seems that now we have like system which is consist of two guys. For example, here is the ground and the second guy here. Okay, so now it's like, you know, like this toy from a wood when like have two guys like kind of connected. We have now, instead of like two separated from each other, no, they're both parts of one system. Okay, so and this system have like a key like a constructive point, which is again important for us as artists. Remember Scott Robertson say, drawing is just like connecting dots. So you need to know coordinates, and then you just draw. You should be able to draw straight line from point to point. That's it. So know various points and have ability to draw straight line or curve line with a proper curvature kind of from point to point. That's it, like super basic idea, right? Super simple. So what constructive points for us? It's like points like standing points, let's say. Then you can use some kind of like anatomical points, which we commonly it's like knees. It can be like this rib cage, you know, no, not rib cage, pelvis, right? So it's like this one, it's like a very stable point, kind of like even like fat people can see this, like if it's not like super crazy amount of fat, but usually kind of can see it's like a point here, because they're symmetrical kind of, right? So we have it's like on the left, on the right side, so it's constructive points. Then it's like shoulders, so it can be like let's say what in the shoulders is a constructive point. So it can be this, like a clavicle, is a clavicle, I hope forget names, or it can be like this bone, can be this kind of bone, or it can be like this bone. Okay, so we have this like upper arm bone here is like protruding, right? So one of these, because it's whatever you choose, or it's just like very general, like a circle. Okay, because they're like symmetrical on the left, on the right side. Так, where is this? Okay. So same like this guy, right? We have knee, pelvis, shoulder, elbow, wrist. On the head is like horizontal lines overhead, whatever. So it's not so many constructive points. For even more simplify, you can just like shoulders and legs, right? So and add head to it, then elbow, whatever. So it's one guy, right? But now we have like system of two guys. Make them together, so it's like these points will be symmetrical and as parts of one system. So let's say if this guy has these 4 points, right? So two guys will have 8 points, right? So these 8 points will create box. So this 4 points and this 4 points. Whoop. Now we have box. Okay. So instead of drawing like two guys like one like shoots there, other shoots there, like where's this guy, like where he goes, like hey like look at me, where are you going, right? Now they're like solid, like they're both attached to each other, you know, like with a wire, say like hey, like this, right? So, and up to you how much points you want to do, whatever. So it's just like important thing here. It's you see this approach, right? Learn to think these categories. So when it's important for your story, for your visual narrative, to make them be like engaged. They're like fighting each other, right? They're like looking at each other, right? So they're actually kind of united in one block. Так. So, and here let's check. So let's check this, what we have right now here. So if we have this 4 points for this guy, drop them vanishing point, right? So you see it's kind of like they're missing each other. So it will be, let's grid. It will be already like work much better if you consider them like this. Okay. So then, let's check comment. I have a comment. Comments. So. Snow Fox, like you've been to I don't know, this kind of LGBTQ plus question. I don't know how to answer this. I believe, you know, about like overworking, all the stuff, it's a myth. All these people like who claim like they destroy their health, like artists, let's say artists who say like, oh, I destroy my health because I draw in too much. You know, okay, try and check them, and what you will find, there's like doing nothing like whole day, and then they start drawing like in the midnight and drink like coffee, energetics, drawing in all night, and after like, oh, I've been working drawing all day like crazy. No, you know, in reality it's like if you draw like normal work day from morning to evening, 8 hours, make a breaks, you know, but make it like solid 8 hours. It's just kind of normal work day, you know, for you. Nothing kind of unhealthy here, just 8 hours, you know. And you just will see like most of artists who say they draw like crazy, they not draw even 8 hours. So I don't know, like do you draw like from 8 morning to 7 evening? Okay, so then let's see. It's just like very profitable problem which is not exist. So like psychologists, all these like drug companies, they want to sell it to you, telling about like, oh, working so hard. You need to more like lie down and like remember your past and cry about how hard life you have and stuff like this. Okay, so then let's see ratio, right? So ratio kind of also very simple technique, which is just requires this like mileage to make it automatical. In reality, it's like maybe it's too precise. It's too much kind of nitty gritty, and if you will like analyze your favorite artist, everybody make mistakes with the ratios, like Kim Jong-gi, Tsutomu Nihei, Katsuhiro Otomo, like everybody, like for certain degrees, they always kind of make some errors. So it's kind of evidence is like is not super required. But you know, like kind of like perspective grids, like you can see when artists know it and being like loose in his work, or when artists like totally don't know it. Okay, you just can see it. So a ratio, you better have this experience when you know how to use it and you able apply it properly. And then sometimes you're just being lazy, or like, you know, you just economy your resources, right? So you don't want to spend, it's like say, like I don't want to spend too much time, energy for check like every ratio. So, and I have video about this, like open, can watch for free. Very simple principle, which is also like Kim Jong-gi talk about this. It's enough, you know, like 5 minutes to understand this. But then you need like 100 hours or 1,000 hours of application of this principle to really get it. To really get it and be able to use it and be fluent with using it when you need. So idea is just like you kind of create a scale, any kind of scale. So let's say if our guy, this guy, let's say, how high he is. I will take like simple numbers, so it will be close to real number and simple for me, easy to calculate, right? So let's say if he is 180 centimeters, kind of like average, I don't know, kind of. So then I choose like how high camera, right? By combining eye level horizon line and this vertical scale. So let's say 180. And here his little bend already, so 180 will be little higher. Whoop, 180 little higher here. So here will be 180, let's say. And so 2 meter, 2 meter, it will be, so let's say, this kind of calculation. So we have like 10 blocks for 2 meter, right? So 5 and 5. So 5. oh, I say it's kind of easy, but now like in the morning my calculation ability is very slow. Okay, yeah, okay, let's do this way. It's anyway it's simple number, why I need to 2 meter. So 180 divide on 2, so we have 60 here. Then divide on 2, we have 30. No, oh, 90, sorry. 90. Then 90 divide on half, we have 45, right? Yeah, 45. Okay. Now I see in the morning I have horrible, terrible math. Так. And then divide on half will be 22 and a half. 22 and a half. Okay. So now like what I can do, I can say camera, like, okay, let's see this reference. So horizon line here. What area is it? If we look our scale, it's about 45 centimeter high. So let's say here I draw this following the y-axis. Make a little higher here. So this will be my 180. That's too high. Anyway, so 180, it's 3 parts against 1 part. Why 3 parts against y part? Because here you see in our scale, so this 180, then this half is 90, then other half is 45. So what we have, like above 45, we have this 1, 2, 3, right? So this is ratio. Now we have ratio 3 and 1. Так. Okay. So now let's see. This 180, everywhere we drop, we just make this ratio 3 and 1, and this will be our 180 in perspective, in space. So if we take this guy, for example, draw the important, follow this y-axis, right? So it's not straight line, it's aligned with the vertical axis. If it's go curved like this, then it should be curved. So this guy will look, so 1 part below horizon line, so from ground to horizon line is r 45 centimeter. So it's kind of like here it became a solid measurement. So then we make this same measurement 3 times and we will have like 180. Okay, so then we can check like this building. So we draw this to vanishing point. Так. Okay, yeah, so this one look correct here. But this door, I don't know why it starts so high. It should be about here. So we'll look 1, 2, 3. So it's 180 here on this building. So, and we can add, like if we add one more 45, so it will be like 225. Yeah, 225. And etc. Let's take this building here. So 1, 2. So here 180. And this about 225, 260, 270. Say, so this kind of rooftop is like 270, 270 centimeters, let's say. Okay, so just kind of like a ratio, this kind of like a ruler which you can use to check proportions. Also you can check, because once you have this 45 height, right, you can use this like create cube. So it's kind of like 45 cube in perspective. So you know, and sometimes like people ask me like kind of where you learn the stuff. You see this kind of thing, you just I don't know, it's just like obvious kind of, right? So you just need to use little effort to extract more application from simple principles, right? So because we can see like how to like, yeah, you have height, but how to find width, right? And the more kind of important question will be is like how to make it convenient. So it will be not just like you need to take like protractor and all this stuff and like sit and like drawing this finding angles and stuff. How to make it more convenient for artist freehand use, right? So here example, just spend like 10 minutes, ask this question for yourself. After 10 minutes you find answer yourself. You don't need like always go and find tutorials to find answers. Try to find answers here by yourself, you know, just kind of to forget like some people use their brain, you know, so try it too sometimes. So here again, like if we have height, right, we remember cube, all sides is equal length, right? So by eyeballing you just create cube. Okay, and now we have kind of like also a width for 45 centimeters. So if you want, you can measure whole space. You can make it like 100% accurate if you want to be so precise, right? So you can on your like simple draft near your before you start to draw, right, you can make like a projection of your picture, isometry, or you can make like top plan and side plan kind of, let's say, and you can make it like very, very precise, let's say like 3 meter high, then I say like how much here is like 6 and 7.5 width, you know, then let's say it's like 1 meter this kind of width and then like you can break whole space into blocks in the cubes, right? So now we have these cubes, which is when you use this convenient number, which you can easily to divide in half, or half or a third. You know, half I think is easiest anyway. So with this you will be able to make it like absolutely precise. Just whoop, 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 whoop. You know, so I spent again like 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever, to get this idea. So like, wow, that's kind of cool idea. Then I will spend like a couple weeks exploring this idea, try it myself, use it in the different pictures. After I say like, this is really cool. Now I have some very cool tips I can share with other people. I start to share it with other people. Say like, you know, this how you can measure space. This how you draw like space from different camera angle, whatever. This how it works. This how I learn, and this how I find this like unusual answers and unusual material, kind of, right? So no magic, and there is no like secret book which I hide from everyone, you know, and trying to make money myself from this book, you know. So, and this you see also like with this cube, with this approach, you can find ways which help you also to find this guy proportions in a which. So let's say, so this guy have like 4 these cubes, right? So we have like 1, 2, 3, 4. So then I have like squares instead of cube. Let's just square. So, and here I know where is like kind of he naturally stands. This kind of how wide his legs will be, right? So I will not draw like his legs this far. So this simple measuring tool, box tool, help me to see where his leg will be. And if like, let's say, so here I have this you see how simple geometry it is. Like ask yourself like how difficult to draw this form. Very easy in perspective, right? So, and then let's say, oh, but he's a little bending kind of this, right? Okay, no problem. So what I will do, I can draw him like this. Let's he holding gun here, and maybe his knees will be little far. And if leg will be wider than this, okay, I will just put them little wider from my general structure, you know. So it's kind of these small tips how to make it close and kind of precise enough and also convenient to work fluently. Так, why my head asymmetrical? So let's say kind of like this, right? So now it's like his legs are wider than in his like normal natural stand, but they don't go too far, kind of. Okay. And now we have this like a structure which we can put in perspective very easily. Так. Let's see. Let's check comments. Oh, so many comments. Soup. Okay. Yeah, if you have a question to me, make highlight me, like how's it's like Jane Bond art, right? So I can see it in the chat. Так. So again, I have video tutorial about grids, like all perspective grids. This video tutorial calls all perspective grids, or every perspective grid, or perspective for beginners. So when you want this technique practice individually, go and watch this video and do homework. I talk in there about homework. And I have a couple videos about proportions, about ratios. Watch them too if you want to improve with this thing. Так, so we cover this. Так, gesture composition. Okay, the gesture composition will be later. So yeah, and now let's see. Let's see, we want to apply these principles. Let's use color. Which color? So if we take this guy here, so go into X vanishing point, then go to Y vanishing point, this Y axis. Then we say here is a horizon line, so this is our 45 centimeter for this guy in this picture. Let's say again, you see like it's kind of little raw, not perfect. Так, then op, 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 op. Then here I kind of like, I can without drawing this, but let's, for example, like I'm looking for this square, right? So we have squares, so we can see width. Okay. Так, okay. So here, if he kind of neutral pose, let's say he's standing like this. But then we make his like bending little, so, and put his legs wider. Say like this. Then also like I will make like his lower arm kind of moving to the vanishing point. So it's kind of like more attached with the grid here. So it will like feels like he really like pointing like to the depths, you know, not like to the side, not to side somewhere, not like there, but he pointed to depths. So to vanishing point, right? So let's say like this. So then, like I say, we draw second guy as a part of unified system. So we have also this here ratio. So in this like ratio you can use just like a standard, and like if second guy is lower, you just draw him lower. If he higher, you draw him higher than this. Так, he's like wah wah wah. Say like this. Okay, so now they're like in front of each other, and then, which is also kind of like answer for a question, how we make this feeling of a character or characters being part of environment. Best of all, if you kind of like also start connect them to each other with this like I say, like a system kind of, right? So for example, like we have this they have this mutual ground, right? And then you kind of like make point from it, and you say like, okay, here is this house, this building begin here, right? So now they're like kind of like attached to each other, like ISS, like a block in the International Space Station, kind of, So let's see. So we have X, go to X, and like, oh, okay, so you have here corner of a building. Because so many times it's like it's a very simple detail, very small nuance, very little step, kind of you don't need much effort for this, but it really helps you solve it from beginning very fast. It's like how much space, for example, like you will have for a vehicle on the road, right? So let's say here you can place vehicle, right? Then here, like, is there some more space for other people to walk? Maybe you'll say you start second building about there. Так. Like this. Oop, this kind of, and etc. And you just keep. So say here some Kia. So we'll look for your building here. So, and then it's now we go into this area of composition, kind of, right? I usually, like when I start drawing, I usually start from composition and grid together. So it's like it's look like this. So it's like when you, for example, draw comic book or storyboard or illustration, whatever, you might have these small thumbnails, right? So where you just block main idea. So you say like, oh, here is like upshot character, like looking somewhere there, right? And then let's say here, like with camera looking down onto two characters, and he's like where's my money, Lipovsky, you know, say like this, and there's like a corner of a building or something like this. So very, very raw. It can be even more raw, yeah, like this kind of, right? It's just like some very vague, like a, kind of like a cloud. So it's important, it's just like you indicates like what type of shot it is. So it's just like where camera looking up, camera looking down. You establish kind of amount of like amount of space kind of each object roam in the picture, right? So it's like how much we have like this negative space, how much we have like a character silhouette, how much in this character silhouette will be for his head, how much will be for his shoulders, kind of, you know. So composition, it's kind of most no, I think like biggest part of composition. It's this is two-dimensional basically, right? So it's how in a two-dimensional form, kind of like you organize these shapes, spots, rhythms, because might be some repetitive, maybe like here is like second guy from a little farther. It's look like what is this, you know. So once you have this, then you say like, okay, for I watch Jim Bond tutorial about different camera angle perspective grids. So I know for this type of camera angle, for this kind of shot, it will be, let's say, this kind of grid. Okay, so then I have grid. So now I have composition and grid from beginning, from start. And then I start to kind of, if I want to block, if I'm not sure, right, I want to block to help myself to make like them as a boxes, so I can better kind of see angles of their heads. Let's say like his head, like a box kind of here, stuff like this. Or is like I was explaining in today's tutorial, maybe it will be like points, and I unify kind of characters into one geometry. So here's like our grid, like this. Like this, right? So it's insane, you know, when you should try it, of course, couple times, and then in the process you will realize like, wait a second, it's insane how convenient, how like how little effort it's required, and how many problems it's like, it's not like solve problems, it's like eradicating them before they even appear, you know. It's kind of this thing about like choosing life path where there is less problems, okay. So this is what it is. You start from a right step, and you like avoid like ton of problems which kind of will not bother you anymore, okay? Because now when you have this idea like where is your main objects, what is your grid, now it just became like a plane in a sandbox, you know, like really like, oh, I put this here, I put this, like what if there is a cat walking, like I don't know how to draw cats, but let's say, and people will look so like, oh, you're like Kim Jong-gi, you can draw everything so easy. It's a perspective grid make everything easy. No, and here's like, oh, what if like here's like some like dude like, wow, what happened, like in a Saturday morning, some alcoholic on the ground, and there's like somebody open door in the car, and he's like, hey, he's like off-duty police officer, say like, what are you trying to do? No shooting on my street. And then here is some flying vehicle, or maybe it's like from trampoline kind of, there's car chase, it's like, you know, and there's like James Bond, or like, yeah, let's say like this window broken, and there's like James Bond fallen from window, and he's like have this kind of house call, shooting from two hands, like like war. And there's like other guy, they're here proportions crazy, they're like huge, but anyway, you know, so you can play now with all this. So, and in the composition level, again, like what I consider when I draw in all these blocks, all this geometry, I looking for a negative spaces, right? So what kind of negative space appear when I add all these elements? Like what, maybe I can add some more object which will like improve this shape. Then there are also like levels of these shapes. So we have like, let's say on one level we have this sky and buildings shape, negative shape, right? So here can put also a building. Then it might be like, let's say this shape. Maybe like this here. So you can like this shape happen when you kind of like divide foreground from middle ground, right? So it may be like kind of like in the shadow here. So now we have like kind of shape within shape, and this actually like what composition is like we doing this like I was showing with the character, right? There is like, let's say, silhouette of a character as a shape, and then within a silhouette of a character we have like another shapes, no, like this, let's say, right? So it's kind of like triangular shape, and then it's like rectangular, and then maybe you create some kind of this geometry, whatever. Like I'm not very good with character designs, but this is idea. Okay, so yeah, and the gesture, just like playing around when you already have composition perspective grid, you just being like more resourceful because you spend so little for all this like first stage with composition and the perspective grid. Like in total you spend like kind of all the structure, you spend like 10 or 15%, right? So now you have like so much resources for drawing all these details, all this like playful part of a work, and kind of like without going too much into like this gesture, which you know, like I was in a video about Red Sea Christ was talking, it's like kind of like creating flow, right? So you can like focus on what kind of rhythms and flow makes your characters. So let's see. So it can be like we have this line here. Whatever. So it's best to work with this within solid structure. So it's like when you make this sculpture, but you have a metal carcass, right? You have a metal frame, so you like attach clay on a metal frame, and even after you attach certain amount of clay, still you can like a little bend this metal frame, but everything already have this solid structure from beginning. So yeah, it's best when it's perfect from beginning, but still like it's can be flexible little afterwards. And these adjustments they made with this solid structure, which made it much more convenient and much more fun somehow, you know. So it's example of I forget this saying about freedom, kind of, you know. So it's discipline, something kind of, right? So this certain amount of discipline give you all this creative freedom, and this like which mistake we like majority of artists do, like beginners, you know, right? Like almost every beginner, every amateur artist doing this because they feel like discipline and structure as some kind of like restraint and kind of like, oh no, it's killing my creativity. In reality, it's absolutely opposite. If you have solid structure, it's now it's like engine. It's like your Unreal Engine, right? So like now is your like sandbox. It's your GTA 6, and now you can play with it. Like do whatever you want. You create space, and you can like fill space with situations, details, all this stuff. So now I'll draw on a paper. On the paper, where is this? Okay, it's here. Drawing on the paper, and let's make this.
Madness. This is Jane Bond art. Okay, so let's take again this initial situation. So we have X vanishing point, Z vanishing point, and It's like 5-point perspective grid. Так, X go like this. Так. Second guy. It's also like bend him little, like leaning forward. Так. Again, we'll make building here, this corner. It's like a 7-Eleven with chapel, right? That's cool. With a tower. So So now I want to kind of put a bunch of stuff to have this like skyline, this silhouette of sky. And yeah, and maybe here I want to create this kind of silhouette of sky, right? So it's kind of put bunch of architecture. Так. So let's see what here. Here will be second building. Down, down, down. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah. Down. Так, here this super crazy y-axis. Okay, let's say like this. So this building going here. Let's make a car here. Okay, some kind of this. Так, and let's make like totally other situation, right? Так, so let's say axis. Okay, so kind of same situation, but trying to put it in a crazy perspective, right? So what perspective grid we have for crazy perspective is like curved horizon line, tilted. So we have curved horizon line, z vanishing point, y vanishing point. This kind of how axis lines will go. Okay. So here are the axis. And you see again, it's like this sequence, which is kind of most convenient, is like together start with grid and composition, just like general shapes. So like this. So horizon line. So we look this curved horizon line. It's about like a knee level of this guy here. So our second guy, about like this. Так, so here Y vanishing point. And X axis go like this. Okay, so these are grid. Yeah, you will have many wrinkles. Так, so. And then now kind of this is kind of basic, it's kind of like very raw. And now let's kind of try to make it this kind of anime look, right? So we have like hand here in front, and I will break it into boxes. Так, so. Let me check. So he kind of just help myself see what kind of pose it is. So have torso bent. Something like this. Still like this, like he got shot. Так. Let's see. That's a weird gesture here. Now I need to look for a good angle for his head. Так. Okay. Yeah, maybe like this. So you see, again, I kind of using this box principle just to figure out for myself what kind of position of a head according camera. So I'm not trying to start with anatomy or stuff, because before you do anatomy and everything, at least you need to have clear idea like what is like a very general idea is like we see side of head, we see side and the back, or we see side and the bottom or together. So and just think like which one will be work better. So then here I find is like this is like right side and the bottom look better. I believe it feels more kind of correct. Так, so then we have, let's say 7, 11, where maybe here. Then will be tower. to this building. On the right, maybe it's like billboard. So here kind of like composition is like, I thinking, okay, I want to leave some empty area around hand, right? So I will not make buildings overlap, like going behind this hand. So make kind of keep silhouette clear, and even like support silhouette. So if I draw this like architecture here with this like lines, it's vertical lines, right, of a wall. So it's like door here, for example. So they even support because they're like following this Y vanishing point. So they kind of pointing towards hand, right? So it's kind of also composition trick when we place main elements of composition into focal points, which is vanishing points and perspective grids too, right? So you can see a lot this in pictures of this artist, forget. I just forget name. Like in really in the morning, my brain little slow. More coffee. Anyway, I've been doing like a breakdown of some artists' perspective, and there we always can see examples of like, you know, when put like maybe character face on the vanishing point, and let's say it's like here character like shooting above, right? So, and here I say like shooting flare will be like this. So on the vanishing point here shooting flare, his face on another vanishing point. So I have this kind of, and then it's like y-axis became like action lines, because they all work for this effect to show like a shooting kind of shooting flare visual effect. And we can make like a hatching also following y-axis. Let's see. This, and here's like так. I want him head. And this guy had just like fly off his head. So here, yeah, this door I make too low. So you see like in the real time how I check, right? Proportions. Say okay, it's too low, so it should be higher. Anyway, but I don't want actually door near to gun, so let it be just windows, like store windows, like this. Так. Franks. Yeah, I can draw without guidelines. But is not important, like you draw with guidelines or without guidelines. Let's see. It's not like a benchmark of good art. Ability to draw without guidelines. Так. So it's also maybe it's a sunset, right? Classic. So here will be shadow. And of course you also have gun. It just was too slow. Так. Let's check. His face. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, wah, wah. Так. Wah, 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 wah. So. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so if I prepare like a reference with a holster, so I forget like how to, but some kind of belt with holster, how to draw. Here maybe even cooler will look if make kind of shoulder holster, right? Something like this. Так. Yeah, nice. Also a good example of forgetting your own grid. So here is my y-axis, so y-axis should go this way. So I think kind of weird. This y-axis here. This my z. I'm just a human after all. Just a human after all. Okay, let's put some shade in. Yeah, so when you start to draw curvilinear perspective grid, everything became like more surreal, especially when it's like this exaggerated angles, exaggerated proportions. But all of this is a matter of practice. And what I'm demonstrating here is that this system work perfectly, kind of, because like it's absolute improvisation. So like I don't have any reference for this. It's like I never prepare for this kind of angle, so it's extreme, unusual kind of. And still with this approach you can pretty well manage it, you know. So just like make a couple hundred more and it will look mind-blowing and super stunning. So we just need to understand this like mechanic, right? When you know it, then you know what you must do and what to expect. So don't have this like unrealistic picture and no, of real world, right? And will not have like an unrealistic expectations. Так, let's see like this. Wah, wah, wah. Fatality. So let it a little dry. Like hump in here. No, forget his head.
So also you see kind of, I also don't like to draw windows and all these like boring repetitive elements. But you see, in a construction of a building, there's so many more basic elements, like more general elements. Just kind of like you can draw, how to say, advertising boards. You can draw like separate different levels of a buildings. Just draw a bunch of buildings overlapping each other. It's kind of will be like very close to finished illustration, but without making too much details. Так. Maybe one building here. So, then clouds. Also, here we have this vanishing point. Can make more like action lines. So this action lines is z-axis lines. They go into z vanishing point. So it's kind of this composition or design aspect. So this is why I also say before, perspective, it's also kind of like element of composition, because in the composition we're talking about shapes, right? But these shapes also might be like aligned to this kind of modular system of a picture, right? If like sorts, for example, right? So you say like, okay, so you kind of like considering this sorts. So it's some kind of like subdivision of a picture frame. And perspective grid, it's also kind of composition tool which creates this subdivision or organization. So you use it, you use this structure, this subdivision, this arrangement of elements to support your composition, right? This is why I say like here is like vanishing point, like it's kind of perfect as a best when you make vanishing points to be in the points of attention, some kind of main composition elements. Так, so let's see, these are dark.
Yeah, so everybody like who new on the channel, I really recommend you to watch my previous videos. Like I have specific tutorials about perspective basics where I start from 1-point perspective and go to 6-point perspective. Because if I will like every stream, if I will talk about basics every live video, it will be just like too much videos about same stuff. It's kind of is boring for me, but it's also will be like too many it will be a lot of video but with the same content, you know, and you will be lost, don't know like okay what to watch if all video is same. So I try to make every time I try to talk about something different, even if it's one more tiny nuance, but it's something new. So this also. Okay, so that's it for today. Hope was helpful, you learned something new. Also again, consider to support my channel with like became member. You can join my Discord where we talk about perspective, I give feedback on perspective and whatever. We will even make audio and maybe like
mutual live streams. It just, I think it should be like more people, so we will be more easier to be live in the same time. So this first tier, you can already get access to my Discord for channel members, and in US dollars is like $1.50 per month. It's like cup of coffee. It's like if you drink coffee, it's like 1 cup of coffee. You know, if you smoke, then you just quit smoking and use this money to join my membership. And yeah, at least you will make one artist super happy, you know, and have more energy and time dedicated to tutorials, because I have so many like new tutorials in the plan, but because I need to do all these side projects and jobs, not enough time to prepare properly. But soon will be very, very cool new tutorials. Maybe we'll like make like new season, crazy new season of mind-blowing tutorials. So see you next time.